Dallas Mavericks earned the season series after defeating the Golden State Warriors in a blowout, 133-103. This is the Gray Area right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. It was an incredible night for the Dallas Mavericks, who move now to 21-0 when leading after the first quarter, 14-0 when scoring at least 120 points in a game this year. This is a Dallas Mavericks team that at one point went on a 25-0 run to end the final 8 minutes and 24 seconds of the first quarter. In fact, they went on a 36-4 run in a 14-minute, 24-second span that included a 28-0 run from the end of the first quarter to the beginning of the second quarter. In fact, Luka Doncic, who had 39 points in this game, including 23 points alone in the third quarter, had no idea that the Mavericks were on this kind of run, blowing out the Golden State Warriors. They were in the first quarter. In fact, here is Luka Doncic after the game, after he was asked, did you know that it was a 28-0 run? Here's what Luka Doncic had to say.
Hey, Luka, would you say that you guys came out angry tonight? Were you angry as a result, as a team, given what happened last night, and that was the take to take into the game tonight, to play angry and play focused?
Yeah, I think so. Everybody was pissed off because we didn't play the right way yesterday, and I think that was it. Yeah.
Callie Kaplan.
Hey, Luka, what was going through your mind during that 28-0 run? Were you aware of how much the lead was expanding at that point?
Well, you said 28-0?
Yeah, 28-0 run in the first quarter into the second.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's nice. I don't know. I didn't know that.
Did you realize that the lead was growing at that point, or you had no idea?
Yeah, I did, because I was watching the score, but I had no idea it was 28-0.
So Luka Doncic saying, look, I had no idea that we were on a 28-0 run, and it was a 36-4 run in that 14-minute, 24-second span that allowed the Dallas Mavericks to get out to a 47-16 lead, and the game was over with not only after the first quarter, but after the first half. The Mavericks bench outscored the Golden State Warriors 28-6 in the first half, including holding the Golden State Warriors to just 20.5% shooting from the field. Jalen Brunson was really good, especially in the second quarter. He had 8 points, and the Dallas Mavericks held the Golden State Warriors to their lowest point total of the season at halftime and their biggest halftime deficit of the season also. It was a scintillating third quarter for Luka Doncic, who was spectacular with 23 points on 9 of 11 from the field, 3 of 4 from downtown, hitting shots in the mid-range, getting to the cup, hitting step-back three-pointers. He was doing a variety of things in all of 28 minutes of work where he did not even have to play in the fourth quarter. But this game was about the defense that Trey Burke had. He had not played in the previous 6 games before he played against the Sacramento Kings, where he turned in a terrific performance there, even though it was a loss on the road against the Sacramento Kings. His primary assignment was to guard and deal with Stephen Curry, who in the month of April was shooting 47% from the three-point line and having one of the most torrid stretches in the history of this league. He did a terrific job on Stephen Curry, especially in the first half. Now, Stephen Curry did have 15 in the third quarter, but it really didn't matter much as he was only held to 12 first half points. The aggressive traps, the physical double teams, the constant contesting of shots on Stephen Curry was evident throughout this game as the Mavericks made sure that they were contesting everything that they possibly could, showing and closing airspace against a guy who is arguably the greatest shooter in the history of this league. Dorian Finney-Smith, who's had a spectacular month of April as he continues to play well, now averaging over 12 points per game, shooting 50% from the field, 45% from the three-point line. I asked him after the game, what is it about this month of April that has had you playing well and focused the way that you have? Here's what Dorian Finney-Smith had to say.
No, we do want to talk to you, man. It's all right.
Yeah. What up?
You've had a terrific April, averaging nearly 13 points, nearly 50% from the field, and over 44% from the three-point line. What's been the key to your terrific month of April in your mind for you?
Just having fun with it, man.
Just not trying to get too attached to the results and just shoot my shots with confidence. Mo's always tell me you put in the work, so just go out there and let it go.
So Dorian Finney-Smith helps a team now that goes to 31-2 and leading by at least 10-plus points at any point in a basketball game, at 11-3 when 6 Mavs score at least 10-plus points in this game. Also, when you start thinking about how this bench played throughout the entire game, they outscored the Golden State Warriors 60-33. It was a terrific performance for a team that needed a bounce-back one after having poor energy and effort against the Sacramento Kings, and in this game raced out to a 36-12 lead at the end of the first quarter. It's incumbent upon this team to continue to build on the momentum that they have started to gain by playing this way in the first quarter. In fact, I asked Rick Carlisle after the game, how does this team build on the mindset of ensuring that they are playing with the kind of sense of urgency needed the way that they did against the Golden State Warriors in the first quarter so that it continues to go forward? Here's what Rick Carlisle had to say after the game.
Hey, Rick, how does this team continue to build on the mindset of playing with a sense of urgency like you did tonight in the first quarter as you go forward through the rest of this season?
Well, all these experiences accumulate. Guys continue to learn and grow. We've got to take this momentum tonight and turn it into momentum on Thursday night. We've got an oddball trip here. Where you go all the way across the country to play 2 games with very easy travel. Hour-long bus trip last night. Get in at midnight, no big deal, and then we're going to get on a plane and cross 3 time zones to play on Thursday. Which is it's just part of, the bizarre world of the NBA restart and this season. It's just one of the necessities. So we just gotta have to find a way to build on it. And look, we had a couple of tough losses to New York and Sac. We were able to get a much needed win against Detroit. We got a couple of really good ones against the Lakers. They had disappointment last night. And we just got to start another streak, and it's not easy. Because human nature, is always makes it challenging. When you have a little prosperity, that's when it's always a little harder to dig deep. But our guys are learning, and we'll fly tomorrow. We'll get some rest, and we'll get ready for Thursday.
So Rick Carlisle saying, look, we are learning, and this is a young team that's still trying to figure things out, but we let human nature get to us a little bit, and you saw that in the Sacramento Kings game, but ultimately against the Golden State Warriors, they came out the kind of energy, effort, and focus needed to earn a season series where now they own the season series over the Memphis Grizzlies, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Golden State Warriors, while remaining now 1 game ahead of the Portland Trail Blazers after they snapped their 5-game losing streak against the Indiana Pacers. So while the Dallas Mavericks handled their business, so did the Portland Trail Blazers as we get down to crunch time for a Mavericks team now that is 34-27 on the season and now finds themselves with the final 11 games left of this season needing to continue to put the pedal to the metal. Now, this game did not feature Kristaps Porzingis, who missed his 3rd straight game with a left ankle sprain. It did not feature Josh Richardson either, who continues to deal with hamstring tightness. Rick Carlisle said before the game he is unsure of the timetable of when Kristaps Porzingis will return to the lineup, which is a little bit concerning given what the Mavericks need to do going forward as they get ready to take on the Detroit Pistons before coming home to take on the Washington Wizards and reigning Eastern Conference Player of the Week, Bradley Beal. That much needs to be figured out over the next few days to allow Kristaps Porzingis to get back on the floor. He was dressed for the game, but obviously did not play. That is going to ultimately be a question as the Mavericks continue to move forward in the final 11 games of the season. But more importantly, we've seen what this team is capable of when they come out and play with the kind of sense of urgency that we saw from them in the first quarter and in the first half against the Golden State Warriors. They can defend when they want to. They can score when they want to. It's about whether or not they do it consistently night over night. I asked Maxi Kleber after the game, what does this team have to do to ensure that they're building on this mindset and playing with the kind of sense of urgency that they did in the first quarter against the Warriors? Here's what Maxi Kleber had to say.
Hey, Maxi, how does this team build on the mindset of playing with a sense of urgency, especially at the beginning of first quarters, the way that you guys did tonight against the Warriors?
Yeah, we addressed this multiple times now. The first quarter is very important for us. I think there's a stat about like how many games we win when we win the first quarter. So we just got to make sure we come out with the right energy. Yesterday, we definitely didn't do that. Even if we have like a high, winning a couple of games, we have to have the right energy every time, every game in the first minutes. And today we did a better job. And like for the next games that we definitely have to keep coming out strong and play good in the first quarter. And that's on everybody. The starters, the bench, everybody.
So Maxi Kleber saying, look, we didn't get off to the great start against the Sacramento Kings. We wanted to make sure that we came out in this game and to play with the kind of effort, energy, and urgency needed to be able to put together this kind of performance where in this game you were able to hold the Golden State Warriors to a paltry 40% from the field in this game where they shot 34 of 84 while the Dallas Mavericks shot 52% from the field. Again, this team can guard when they want to. This is a team at times has been a top 5 team in terms of defensive rating when they were going through that 19-7 stretch and that 26 game span that found themselves climbing back into it as far as the Western Conference standings are concerned, and a team that at times has been both a top 10 defensive and offensive rating team. So again, we know what they're capable of. It's just whether or not they put it together night over night. And when you got performances from Luka Doncic, who had his 23 points in the third quarter, while you had a guy like Jalen Brunson contribute, you also had Tim Hardaway find some of his game a little bit, especially in the first quarter. The game was boosted by the quick 5 points that Maxi Kleber scored, being one of the toughest individuals on this team, dealing with the low back contusion. He says that continues to get better, and he hopes within the next couple of days he will be fully back to 100%. But you really got to give a guy in Trey Burke a lot of credit. He won the defensive player of the game in this game. He was not asked to do a lot of scoring. His primary job and assignment was to chase around the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA, and that's exactly what he did. And you give him credit for staying ready and being a stay-ready all-star because, again, not playing in the 6 previous games prior to playing against Sacramento can be tough mentally and emotionally. But yet, he has remained professional, and when has been called upon, he has been able to deliver and did so against the Sacramento Kings with the offensive output that he had. But then in this game, which was more important, being able to hold down and at least contain somewhat Stephen Curry. I mentioned Tim Hardaway, who saw some shots go down in a spectacular first quarter where he had 11 points. It was good to see some shots go down for him, for a guy who's been struggling mightily from the three-point line, especially during the month of April. So you saw this team bounce back from a poor performance against the Sacramento Kings, get up for a nationally televised game against the Golden State Warriors and Stephen Curry, and they continue to find themselves beating the Golden State Warriors. Now they've won 6 of 7 in their last 7 games against the Golden State Warriors. In fact, they've won those 6 games by an average of 27 points across those 6 wins, going 6-1 in their last 7 against the Golden State Warriors. So while teams like the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns and others seem to have the number of the Dallas Mavericks seem to have the number of the Golden State Warriors, and they needed to have that number against them in this game because they needed to get another quality win as they continue to move forward in the final 11 games. Again, this game was over in the first half. And glad for Luka Doncic to be able to have the performance that he did in the third quarter with the variety of shot making that he did with the 23 points that he had. But more importantly, they played with a sense of urgency, the defense, and more importantly, the mindset that is going to be needed going forward for this team to give themselves an opportunity to remain in the 6th spot in the Western Conference. We will see if they do so now that they have gotten back on track after a terrific win on the road against the Golden State Warriors, where they get a 133-103 win, a 30-point drubbing inside Golden State. They take on the Detroit Pistons next on Thursday before they come back home to take on the Washington Wizards. Can this Mavericks team finally build on a performance that they needed to bounce back after having a terrible one against the Sacramento Kings? Only time will tell. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Again, be sure to hit that subscribe button for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. Yeah, I know Boban got thrown out of the game because of a flagrant 2. I feel bad for the nicest person in the world getting thrown out, but hey, it is what it is. Make sure you subscribe to The Gray Area and Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. This has been another episode of The Gray Area. We'll talk to you later. Peace.